Hello and welcome back to the Women's War week by week. Today, February the 15th, 2015, I thought I would tell you about the Scottish saint of Serbia. She died exactly 100 years ago yesterday. Maybe there is something appropriate about her dying on Valentine's Day. It would be hard to find another woman who showed greater love to her fellow human beings than she did. Dr. Elizabeth Ross was born in Tain in Scotland in 1878. One of 6 children, her forward-thinking parents were broad-minded enough to believe that she and her sisters had as much right to a university education as their son. Despite the widespread antagonism towards female student doctors, which actually led to them being excluded from some clinical studies and even from some lectures, Elizabeth became one of the very first women in Scotland to achieve a medical degree from Queen Margaret College, Glasgow. This achievement, in 1901, set her on a path that led to her meeting her destiny in Serbia 14 years later. Her graduation photograph had barely been developed before she left Scotland for Persia, modern-day Iran. Part of her job was as harem doctor. The women apparently loved her and her unconventional lifestyle. The powerful tribe elders were so bowled over by her and her skills that they made her a chieftain. Her next unusual job was as ship's surgeon. Almost certainly the first woman to fulfill that role. Then back to Persia, the land that had cast its spell over her. But now the drums of war were starting to beat. The medical services in Serbia were in dire straits. There were only around 400 doctors in the whole country, and most of them had been called to the colours when Austro-Hungary attacked Serbia. Civilians in wartime always take second place to the needs of the military machinery, and the needs of the Serb soldiers, as well as of civilians, were overwhelming. When Elizabeth heard that Serbia was in the grip of a typhus epidemic, she borrowed money and got herself from Persia to a typhus hospital in Kragujevac in Serbia. As a doctor, she knew that, in all probability, she was signing her own death warrant. The situation confronting her in the hospital was desperate. There were almost no medical or nursing staff. 2 beds were pushed together to hold 3 generally dying patients. When she was asked how she could possibly bear to work there, she simply said, "Well, someone has got to do it." She did it for 3 weeks until, on the 14th of February, she too died of typhus. The first, but far from the last British woman to give her life in the service of this distant country. In an annual ceremony of remembrance, Serbia continues to honour the sacrifice of the 22 gallant British women who lost their lives so far from home and loved ones. There is a picture of her and of her grave on my website. Come back soon for more stories from the Women's War week by week, and to find out about Lorna Ferris and Mabel Dermer, who are buried next to Dr. Elizabeth Ross in Kragujevac in Serbia.